Now that we've looked at consumption spending, let's look at our savings, because our savings is closely related to how much we consume. So notice here for our table that when our income was 0, our consumption spending was 5, and our savings was a negative 65. So what that tells us is that we are dissaving. That is, we are pulling money out of our savings account, and we're partially using that to fund our consumption spending. Okay? When it comes to your income, there are 3 things you can do with it. Spend it, save it, pay net taxes. So in this case, we must have autonomous taxes of 60. Because if we're pulling $65 out of savings, it's to do something with it, $5 to spend on goods and services, the rest must be going to taxes. Now if we look at our consumption and our spending over our lifetime, so here's our age, and when we look at our consumption spending over our lifetime, when we're young, we don't spend as much. When we start to get into our 40s, for example, we're spending more. At that point, we're traveling, we're buying houses, we're buying cars, we're paying for kids to go to college. And so our consumption spending peaks midlife. And then as we get older and we retire, the house is paid off. We're living more off of our savings, not traveling as much. And at that point, our consumption spending is less. Well, there's a relationship between consumption spending and savings. When you're young, when you're in college, for example, you are borrowing money. You are dissaving. Right? You're not spending your current income. Instead, you're pulling money out of savings or borrowing to do so. When you hit middle age, then you're more likely to be putting money into your savings account. And then as you get closer to retirement, you're then going to start pulling money back out of your savings account. So what happens is early in life and late in life, we do dissavings. We pull money out of our savings account to use for consumption spending. But we're not looking at it over time here. We're looking at it as income changes. What happens to our savings as our income increases? So notice at low levels of income, we were dissaving. And as our income gets higher, we start to put more and more money into our savings account. And so in a moment, we're going to plot that savings function. And so we can find the autonomous savings, the savings we do when we have no income, and you'll notice that's dissavings. And then we'll look at our induced savings. That is what happens to savings as our income increases. So we'll find the slope of that savings function, multiply it times the income level, and that gives us our induced savings. Well, what happens? Well, let's talk about this induced savings. When we look at this induced savings, we're going to get some kind of slope based on how the savings function changes as income changes. So we're going to find that the slope of that line is 0.2y. Okay, so 0.2 is our slope. This is what we call the marginal propensity to save, MPS. So 0.2 tells us for every dollar of income that we're going to save 20 cents. Now, what do you think the marginal propensity to save is in reality for Canada? For every dollar of income, how much do you think we actually save? Well, let's take a look. So let's go to the Stats Canada website. And if we go under Canadian Economic Accounts Key Indicators, we can actually see the household savings rate. So you can see for the second quarter of 2017, a savings rate of 4.6%. So in our example, we found a marginal propensity to save of 0.2 or 20% of every dollar. Household save, or the marginal propensity to save, is really only 4.6%. So 0.046 would be the marginal propensity to save. And we can actually see that in 2016 for a while, that number was rising, and then it started to fall again. If we go back about 3-4 years, the number is even lower than it is now.